If the United States ran out of cash tomorrow, most people wouldn't find out until it was already too late. There would be no sirens, no emergency broadcast, no dramatic headline saying the money is gone. Life would look normal until suddenly it wasn't. And this isn't a hypothetical. It already almost happened. There was a real moment when the U.S. government came dangerously close to not having enough cash to pay its bills, not because the economy collapsed, not because the dollar failed, but because of how the system itself is built. Most Americans never heard about it because when the world's largest financial system almost breaks, it doesn't break loudly. It breaks quietly. The United States is often described as a country that can never run out of money. After all, it controls its own currency. It issues the dollar. The dollar is used everywhere by everyone. So how could a country like that even come close to running out of cash? The answer starts with a misconception most people have about government money. The U.S. government does not operate like a household. It does not have a single bank account with unlimited funds. It manages cash flow daily. Precisely. Every day, money comes in through taxes, fees, and borrowing. And every day, money goes out to pay salaries, interest, Social Security, defense contracts, healthcare, and thousands of other obligations. The system assumes that cash is always moving. If that movement slows, even briefly, the consequences are immediate. This is where the danger appears. The U.S. government is legally restricted by something called the debt ceiling. It's not a budget limit. It's not a spending plan. It's a hard cap on how much money the Treasury is allowed to borrow to pay for expenses that Congress has already approved. That means the government can be legally required to spend money. It is legally forbidden to borrow. This is not a loophole. This is not a mistake. This is how the system was designed. When the debt ceiling is reached, the Treasury doesn't shut down immediately. Instead, it starts using what are called extraordinary measures. These are accounting maneuvers that temporarily free up cash by delaying certain payments or shifting funds between accounts. On paper, it looks controlled. Behind the scenes, it's a countdown. As cash reserves shrink, the Treasury begins prioritizing payments. Interest on debt must be paid first. Missing that would trigger a default. After that, come essential government obligations. The margin for error becomes thin. Dangerously thin. At one point, internal projections showed that the U.S. Treasury could drop below the minimum cash level needed to function. Not next year. Not someday. Within weeks. If that happened, payments would stop. Not because the U.S. didn't have wealth, but because it didn't have liquid cash at that moment. That distinction matters more than most people realize. Running out of cash is not the same as being broke. It's like having assets you can't sell fast enough while bills are due today. Markets are built on trust that payments arrive on schedule. In financial systems, timing is everything. Delay that trust even briefly, and the ripple effects multiply. Bond markets react first. Interest rates spike. Investors demand higher compensation for risk. The dollar weakens. Confidence fractures. And because the U.S. sits at the center of global finance, that fracture spreads outward. Foreign governments hold U.S. debt as a foundation of their reserves. Banks use Treasury securities as collateral. Pension funds rely on them for stability. A delay in payment, even a technical one, doesn't stay technical for long. This is why the phrase, "the U.S. can never default," is misleading. It can. but because it can legally block itself from accessing it. Not because it lacks money. The closest calls didn't happen during recessions or wars. They happened during political standoffs. As deadlines approached, internal treasury estimates updated daily, sometimes hourly. Every projection was a guess based on incoming cash flows. Tax receipts arrive unevenly. Large payments cluster around specific dates. A single delayed inflow can change everything. That uncertainty is what makes the system fragile. Markets hate uncertainty more than bad news. And when uncertainty touches the foundation of the global financial system, everyone pays attention. Eventually, the ceiling was raised. At the last possible moment. Just enough to avoid immediate disaster. From the outside, nothing seemed to happen. Market stabilized. Headlines moved on. Life continued. But something important was revealed. The United States did not almost run out of money because it was irresponsible. It almost ran out of cash because it operates on a legal structure that treats liquidity as a political tool. This wasn't a glitch. It was a stress test. And it showed that even the most powerful financial system on Earth relies on timing, confidence, and coordination to survive. The danger isn't that the U.S. will suddenly collapse. The danger is that each near miss normalizes the risk. Every time the system is pushed to the edge and pulled back, markets learn that chaos is possible. That learning never fully disappears. And while the dollar remains dominant and U.S. debt remains trusted, the margin for error shrinks with every repetition. The quiet truth is this. The United States doesn't need to go bankrupt to cause global damage. It only needs to hesitate. And that hesitation has already happened. Most people never noticed. But the system did.